My name is Blystad and I'm the game director for Hitman Absolution. You can say we wanted to make this Hitman Absolution a personal story for 1847, because he's been yanked around a lot in the old games, and we want to say, okay, this is his story. He's playing a very big part of the story himself, and we wanted to expose his personality more than before, but it's actually been much more difficult than we anticipated, because he is kind of like an enigmatic character that is very difficult to kind of draw out. So when we did the script, we've redone it I think 100 times at this stage, where his dialogue usually just got smaller and smaller, and the ways that he could interact with other people got more and more into the kind of the classical way that you know him as from the old games, because we cannot really change him and his personality from before, but we can kind of change the world around him to expose certain fragments within him that will kind of give him something. But I don't think people will be I think people will be happy with the story and with the way that the character is presented. We started showing off of Absolution last year at E3, and it was very deliberate that what we showed, and that we had like a precious 15 minutes, and we really focused on just bringing back 1847 and focusing on the very basic mechanics of the stealth, of the disguises, and a little bit of action in there. There will be at later stages more shown off that shows off bigger parts of the game, where we will see probably what you referred to more civilian locations with more kind of a civilian setting that you can kind of blend into and be a part of. So it's all coming in due time. We don't script sequences as a linear game would do. So the only way we can do is set up the situations in a way so it appears to be directed towards the player, but if he interacts with it in ways that we cannot imagine, then we have to cater for that as well. So it is a very difficult process. The way that we designed the game this time, it's a little bit different from the previous games, as in, for instance, Hitman Blood Money, the levels were pretty much the same size. They were paced in the same way. It was very predictable how you would come from one level to the next, and there was no pacing in it, you can say, because it was just kind of compiled and put together. This time we think much more about, if you play this through as one big experience, there will be a certain pacing within the game, and there will be more diversity in the levels themselves. It's very dangerous for us, we feel, to kind of say there is only two ways of doing like the action and stealth, right? So we don't really talk about that. We say more it's about the more professional approach, which we showed first was like the stealthy way, and then you have the more kind of free approach where you use anything that comes at hand and use that against your enemies. It's very important for us to give feedback to the player as to how they're playing, and since we haven't shown a complete level yet, publicly, we haven't been able to show these end screens and how we kind of compile all the information about how you fared throughout the level. And that's, you can say, it's still in those ways it's still a kind of an old school game, is that we do say that there is a level, and you can replay that as if you weren't satisfied with your ranks and your ratings, then you can go back and replay that again and try once more, or you can continue through the story. The instinct mode that we have, it was looking at the map that we had in the old games, which was basically like a god mode, where you could sit and look at the entire game playing out in front of you and you making your move based on your knowledge. Instinct is more saying that, okay, we have this highly professional assassin. He must be able to sense more about the world than we can as normal people. So let's give the player the tool to kind of see what's happening around him and predict whatever's going to be happening next, because the AI is far more complex in Absolution, and it's the way that you interact with them is you need to get more information than you had before. So Instinct is making us making the player able to see more what's going to happen next, but essentially he's getting less information than he got from the maps of the old game. So you can say, if you talk about like a pure experience, actually the maps, if you use the map in the old games, then you were kind of cheating, right? If you were trying to be a professional.
Area secure. No sign of perpetrator. Everything clear.